organized and share it with everyone. Most of that is relevant to those on the project team, but of course, you'll be hearing updates from your agency point of contacts. But before we get started, I'm so distracted by all these Alabama fans. This is terrible. Before we get started, I did want to take a minute to introduce a Georgia grad, may I add. We have a new communications specialist that is working with enterprise learning here at DOAS. So you all are familiar with Maddie Shank, and she obtained a new position on our comms team. So we've brought in Casey, and we've hired her into the enterprise learning communications specialist position. And I just wanted to take a minute this morning to let Casey introduce herself, and y'all give her a big warm welcome. So Casey, I'll hand it over to you.
Hi, yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Casey, recent UGA grad. Go Dogs. I'm so sorry for all our Alabama fans in here. I'm very excited to be a part of the team and with the enterprise learning projects we have going on.
Thank you so much, Casey. And you'll start seeing her name a lot. I know you're familiar with talking to Maddie, but Casey will take over Maddie's responsibilities. So I just wanted to make sure you guys all knew who she was, and we're so excited. She has jumped in into a crazy time to join the team, but we're so excited to have her. So welcome, Casey, and go Dogs. All right, next slide. We'll go ahead and look at the agenda. All right, so today, like I said, very, very simple. And most of our focus is around training today. I plan over the next couple months, I want to revisit learning specifically. And what I mean by that is when we started this learning community, I started with a demo of the new Georgia at Work LMS. And I talked about the pilot agencies and what the process is. And in this time, we've also established our Learning Governance Committee. We are working on that draft charter now, and the plan was to meet this month, but then we had the shift and go live. So if you were selected after you volunteered for that Learning Governance Committee, the plan is to meet sometime in September instead of August with the shift and go live. Now, September is a very busy month. We have everyone is out for GCHR. We've got Streama going on. We've also got FMC coming up the last week and into October. I also will be out a week in the middle of all that for a family vacation, which I'm very excited about. So I will send some form of communication to let you know when we will be meeting and what the status is on that charter. In the meantime, for today, like I said, I wanted to really focus down in on training and specifically our end user training for Georgia at Work. And you can see there's kind of two categories here to look at. A training update, right? We have a new go live date. What does that mean for training? And then the other part is Team Georgia Learning. So we'll get into that after I let training give their update. But what we need to focus on and what I want to help everyone in is the use of the Team Georgia Learning LMS, where we are currently administering that end user training. So that's an important update. So I know sometimes this is a meeting that you have conflicts and have to jump. It is being recorded. So if you do have to jump today, please make sure you go back and watch those updates. It's really going to help you with the questions you're receiving from your teams and your agencies. So with that being said, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to introduce our SAO training director. We have Rhonda here with us today. And Rhonda, forgive me, I can't remember when you started because it has been such a crazy few weeks, but she has come in and hit the ground running and been a true gift to all of us on the project team. So I want to give a moment for Rhonda to introduce herself, and then she's going to present what Melanie Marks was going to share as well. Melanie's out today. So Rhonda, I'll hand it over to you.
Hello, everyone. I am Rhonda Zubas. I've started actually about 60 days ago. So glad to join the team. It's exciting and a little stressful a little bit because I came straight in and jumped right into the deep end, trying to ensure that we had the training team uh, um, up to par. So glad to be here. I was actually a part of the next slide is creating those timelines and the plans as we move forward. Now that the date has changed to the go live date has changed to April 1st, and I am not Alabama. Well, I'm not a fan or anything like that. I went to Purdue University, so not a dogs fan or anything like that. And in fact, I really am not a sports fan at all, but I can get into it. But I am all Georgia, been here for 5 years. So I guess I can't see me doing Alabama when I lived in Georgia for so long. So I'm going to be a Georgia fan. So next slide, please. What I want to do today. Oh, you have your hand up. Someone had their hand up real quick. Oh, okay. So what I wanted to go over today is the Georgia at Work training on and the 5 W's: who, when, what, why, where, well, how. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of explain each of these categories. I probably need to get it a little bigger than what it is right now, but I wanted to go over each category so we can explain how we're going and moving forward. So why training matters, okay? Training is essential to ensure that all the employees as well as the suppliers are ready to use Georgia at Work effectively from day one. And it's not just about compliance, it's all about building confidence and efficiency in the system. So I'm sorry, I went straight to why. Let me try it again. So who needs it? Every state of Georgia employee who interacts with the Georgia at Work will have a assigned learning program. Some roles require mandatory attendance and assessments and must pass the 80% or higher. So let's do it. That the next category is when does training start? Auto enrollment will begin in the fall of 2025 this year with the learning programs and e-learning courses, and immediately the ILT will run from January to March 2026. We have not gotten the exact dates from leadership as of yet, and we are in flux of ensuring that we are uh, identifying and verifying those IoT, the facilitators, the SME, and the trainers and the producers at the moment. So we are planning on that, but that is the scope of timeline that we plan on pushing out those IoTs. But the learning programs will be pushed out starting this fall, and you all will be able to see that. Okay, what's next? What type of training will be used? A blended approach that's going to include e-learning, micro-learning, videos, instructor-led courses, both virtual and in-person, and job aids for ongoing support. Okay, where training is happening is we're going to deliver everything through Team Georgia Learning, and with the IoTs are going to be designated as physical and virtual locations. So we're going to have both physical locations for the IoT, and some of the learning will be pushed out virtually as well, especially I believe HCM. So how it works is employees will have auto enroll in programs and they can self-register for IoTs as needed. And they will be able to choose their time, but training will also continue after go live to reinforce learning. And if there is a need for additional training, it may continue after go live. So are there any questions? Because keep in mind, these things are still being verified and taking place. Are there any questions? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, Denise? Oh, Katie, I'm sorry, Kate, I'm sorry.
Hi, Rhonda, this is Kate. A quick question. I see on the slide, when does training start? Employees self-register for instructor-led training. It was our understanding, or my understanding, that the majority of our employees will not be participating in instructor-led training, just the SMEs. Has that changed?
It depends on your work stream. So if you are, say, for instance, procurement and HCM, the most of theirs are e-learning, and depends on your role as well. And I wish I had my team on this call to help me out, because I'm still kind of new with this, but it depends on your work stream and your role. So you may have a different learning program than another person will. It depends on your role and how your Georgia at Work is impacted with your role. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
It does. I think what will help is currently on the resource library, there is a document that has a list of all, I'm assuming all the applicable roles in Georgia at Work. And it will be great if we can get something like that with basically another column that says e-learning plus instructor-led, something simple, so that for those of us who are managing this for our agency, we can communicate rightly to employees, you know.
And I
Okay.
believe that's there, right, Rhonda? Did we publish the and forgive me because I can't remember what's on the resource library and what's not off the top of my head, but
I
the
will have to
list
check
of
too.
programs are
There's a,
there by role. And then it also shows on that list if it's an e-learning or instructor led. And so this new approach that the training team has put together, hopefully it's going to aid and help make everything easier, because let's say I have the role of I don't know, HR partner. So I'll have my employee self-service, and I'm a manager program sent out to me. And it includes 3 courses. They're all e-learnings. I'll have my manager program that has a few courses. It will be sent to me. And then I'd have my HR partner program sent to me. And if one of those courses in that program is an instructor-led training, it'll be on my plan in Team Georgia Learning, but then I'll register for the time, the date and time that works for me for that ILT. But that document, and I'm curious if it's up there or not right now, and forgive me for not knowing, is because the training team's been making updates in preparation and adjustment for this shift of go live. But it is your source of truth on what training you will take by which role.
and we will check into that, Katie and Kate, and find out for you. But I believe, Holly, you are absolutely right. So everyone will not get the same. It's based on your role. And when it is rolled out in the fall, you will get yours, and it will clearly lay out what is needed for you in your role. But I believe the learning programs are okay. Mary just put it on the in the chat.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Mary.
That's right. It's in the training support center. And so when you click on the one that applies to you, there's one for procurement, one for finance, one for HCM. You do have to click on it, but there's a PDF file you can access, and it actually lists, just as Rhonda and Holly was describing for you, by role what the courses are. And if it's an e-learning, it's in italics. And if it's instructor led, it's underlined. So that's how you can tell the difference.
All right.
That helps. The document is there. I guess the part that confused me was when it said employees, but now I'm realizing that although it says employees here, we are thinking more in terms of the various types of roles that individuals have. So for DOR, for example, when we say employees, the category, there's a general employee population. And then there is in procurement employees, but then they are also going to be using Georgia at Work in the back end. and there's employees who are in HR, but they are also SMEs. So determining the communication for our employees, we will have to do the work of knowing how to target the communication so that the right employees know what types of trainings they need to focus on. So it's an internal work. I just wanted to clarify if anything had changed or not, since it said employee self-register. So I understand now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before I move to the timeline? Because we have a tentative timeline that we have put in place. Okay, next slide. I'm going to let it come up first. All right, so big picture. This timeline covers everything leading up to go live, setting the foundation so training can be delivered smoothly. We're just really showing you what we're doing in the background as our training team and our leads and all of our developers. So the timeline by July, of course, I mean, we've already passed July, we're in August, but we have defined this high-level training timeline and communication updates and to keep all the stakeholders informed, and what we've already done. We've already done that in July. So now in the audience and scheduling between August and October, we are refining the audience analysis. We're doing an extra audience analysis, and we're identifying, I'm going to add you a little bit of more touch base. We're looking at some of those red flags in some of these agencies that have saying, oh, we need 100 people trained in this area. And we're like, maybe not. And we're just really just doing that analysis to ensure that people are in the right roles and getting the right training for their role. So we're doing that analysis now. And we're ensuring that the training materials and support centers are resources are ready. So we are refining everything at the moment. Training delivery prep, we are looking into November and December. We're validating all the materials, the LMS environment, and conducting train-to-trainer sessions. And this stage is all about readiness for the trainers and the learners. And so the back half of 2025 is about building the infrastructure, the content, the communications, the system, and the people. So the learners, when in 2026, are ready to receive those IoTs. So let's go to the next slide. And I'm going to wait to that. Any questions about the top half from now until December? Okay, so this is the show. This is the part where we actually get to the nitty gritty. So IoT delivery will be in full swing in January. Do we have those exact dates yet? No, we do not. We are in talks with leadership for those exact dates, but it will be in full swing starting in January. Learners will complete the e-learnings wrap up, and then the IoTs and the office hours are there for support. So we plan on having both the IoTs as well as office hours for that support and answer those questions that we can't answer while in those IT as a feedback loop. There are going to be weekly debriefs with delivery teams and ensure that agility in addressing any types of challenges. So we're going to be support. Go live training continues and added support and just-in-time learning. Post implementation support and office hours will ensure employees have a safety net. So let's look at April through June. We're going to focus the shift on sustainment, reinforcing the knowledge, addressing any gaps, supporting any new hires and role changes, and just sustainment planning to ensure any long-term capability as we continue. And I also wanted to add, there is any training delivery that is additional to after go live. We plan on building this out a little bit even further because we may be identifying additional training even after go live. So, but training does not end after go live. It also involves in a cycle of reinforcement, support, and continuous improvement. So, but this is what we have built for our tentative Georgia at Work training timeline. Again, this is not the approved final. It is going through leadership to give us that final approval, and we will continue to update as we know that final complete training timeline. But they have approved it as a tentative one. So there you go. Are there any questions before I turn it over to Holly? Thank you guys so much. And like I said, I'm learning, I'm new, but I am here for you. Please reach out if you need anything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. And just, for everyone, I think we just need to pause and give a big thank you and applause, right? Pause for applause to Rhonda, to Mary Chapman, to Melanie Marks, our entire training team, Kimberly Williams Miller. I know Jamie obtained a new position and is no longer at SAO, but she was a monumental person in that team. And I know I'm leaving people out, but everyone that's been involved with training, they've worked so hard and they've taken this shift and go live as an opportunity to make this better for you and your coworkers, your agency. They're looking at the big picture, but they also are trying to take care of the individual to ensure every single person feels ready for go live, feels trained, and knows that they have the resources they need to do their day-to-day job. So just a huge thank you to training, and Rhonda's being very humble. She might be new, but she's very skilled. So thank you so much, Rhonda, and thank you to all of our training team members. All right,
Thank you
let's
so
go
much.
on. You're very welcome to the next slide. Okay, this is the fun one. And there's a quiz, so get ready. I know this is a learning meeting, right? So we're going to have a quiz. One of the things that has been such a blessing, for lack of a better word, for us in this community is that you guys have come here and been very engaged with us. The same kind of environment I've seen in our NCN meetings. If you have that question, if you need help, we're utilizing this group to help each other and share resources and take care of our employees. With that being said, what's been great is a lot of you have reached out to me personally if you've encountered issues with Team Georgia Learning, or it might be a question that I had no idea what you're talking about. It had something to do with end user training that I didn't know. But guess what? We work together to get you to the right person, find the answer. We all learn something. However, one of the things that has not gone as smoothly is when we need help. What we have seen is we need one consistent place to go. I'm not saying don't email me. Y'all reach out to me anytime. We developed a help form to assist in this. We have to be able to track what's going on so that we can, learn, right? And make this a better experience and a more effective experience for everyone. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today, is exactly where to go for help and what these email addresses should be used for. So previously, before Georgia at Work, right? If you had like sexual harassment prevention questions, HRA owns that, but we administer it through our LMS and with Enterprise Learning, Team Georgia Learning for the state. So there was that Enterprise Learning email address that does generate a ticket. So what we're seeing is people are emailing that old email address that we're going to phase that one out. They're emailing our Georgia Learning email address, which it is too similar. I'm aware that was a poor choice of email name on that. They're emailing me directly, but then copying the email that creates a ticket. They're also emailing Next Gen Testing. They're also filling out the help form, thinking like, oh, I'm going to get my help. Or maybe it's you've done it for your employee, but they went and submitted a ticket also. This is actually slowing down the team's ability to respond and take care of whatever issue you're encountering. Still email me. You don't have to not email me. I'm not saying that, but I just wanted to provide that clarity. So what you'll see here, the first thing is, what is Team Georgia Learning? That is the name, the branded name of the Intellum LMS platform that we are using to administer pre-go live Georgia at Work end user training. So that is Team Georgia Learning. We've also sent out that Exceed address. So when you get LMS notifications from Team Georgia Learning, you know what it's coming from. You know that's what it is. So if you have an issue with the LMS, you need to submit the ticket through the help form. If you have a question about our learning community, and Maddie just put the link, it's on the screen. She put the link in the chat as well to the help form. If you have a question about the learning community, hey, I need to add Bob to the learning community. Hey, I didn't get the newsletter. What's going on with learning governance? Those go to the galearning@doas.georgia.gov. If it's stuff around end user training, you can't get a training to launch in Team Georgia Learning, you think something's missing, you're locked out, someone's account is inactive, those you need to submit the help form ticket. We had over 10,000 tickets in a week in June during basic navigation. And a huge applause to our SAO and DOAS contact center staffs because they went above and beyond, and it was amazing. A lot of that we were able to learn from. We've ran reports, we're looking at the data from that so that we can make sure you're taken care of. But this is going to help everyone all around if you submit the ticket. So even if you email me and I might have an answer for you, I'm still going to reply with the link to this help form because it is imperative that we can track this so that we can make it easier for everyone. Any questions about that? Okay, next slide. All right, so how to access the ticket form. So when you go, you'll see that screenshot on the right. When you log into Team Georgia Learning, we replaced our old email address there with the link to submit the help form. It will then take you to the screen you see on the left. It says Georgia at Work, and you will just go and answer the questions. Some people, I think it was one of our BAs at GDOT actually, he said some of his folks were getting caught up on the agency part. So if you need help, or if you have feedback on this form and there was something unclear for whatever reason, please let us know. We're going to revisit his call out. I want to say it was something with a contractor, but they do stuff for more than one agency. They just got caught up on that agency piece. But please, please, please let us know if you have feedback on the form because we can always make adjustments, if it's really needed and it's causing an impact. Thank you so much, Mary. So agency, you enter your name, your employee ID, and then you have request information. I know that's hard to see at the bottom, but these options will then populate more options so we can get as much information as possible to expedite your request. Okay, so it might be registration and Team Georgia Learning account help. That means you need help getting into the LMS or you're locked out, something like that. Georgia at Work training. That's all of this end user training. I don't see the class I'm supposed to have. I completed it, but it's saying I'm not complete, whatever that is. And then you have like your procurement training. So all the stuff Mary Chapman and her team do. And then you also have enterprise learning, which is the normal stuff that me and my team did before Georgia at Work, right? So you have some categories there. If you're not sure, just try your best and we will get you help. We've tried to make this form as easy to navigate as possible and to expedite your request. But it is so imperative that if you need help with the LMS that you use this form. Next slide. Okay, I hope y'all are ready. I was serious about a quiz. We're going to take a quiz. All right, next slide. I expect everyone to participate. I hope y'all are ready. So you can just type your answer in the chat. Our first question, there's only 2 questions, Anna has been unable to access her Georgia at Work e-learning course in Team Georgia Learning. Who should she reach out to for help? Is it A, contact the Director of Enterprise Learning, Holly Meredith, B, fill out the Team Georgia Learning ticket form, C, email the Georgia Learning inbox and explain the issue, or D, leave it alone, it'll resolve itself? Look at y'all are so smart. Yes, B. And I'm going to repeat it. If someone cannot access their Georgia at Work course or Georgia at Work training in Team Georgia Learning, they should fill out the Team Georgia Learning ticket form. Wonderful. Next question, you guys. Here we go. David is an HR director, and he has a new team member who will be overseeing employee training. Notice there's nothing about Georgia at Work here. Who should he email to get his new team member involved in the learning community? Is it A, the Director of Enterprise Learning, Holly Meredith? Is it B, fill out the Team Georgia Learning ticket form? C, email the Georgia Learning inbox, GA Learning? Or D, leave it alone and it will resolve itself? Oh, Becky, Sharon, I'm trying. I should have added that as an option. Ping. Ping Holly, that's what it should have said. Yay, C. So questions about the learning community, maybe the learning governance, right? That's new. That should come to the GA Learning inbox. Y'all are so smart. Great job. Great job. You know, I jokingly suggested in a meeting that we have a quiz, and it was welcomed with open arms. So we threw it in here. So good job. You made a 100. Please share this with your teammates. It's pretty simple, but it's just when you're pushing training out to almost 80,000 people, you can imagine the amount of tickets. And one of the things I'll share too that we saw with basic navigation, a lot of people, I mean, hundreds, were saying, I did it, but it's not showing complete in the LMS. We had so many tickets around that. We retested our SCORM files. We also reached out to our vendor, not just submitted a ticket, but got on a call and said, is there something going on with the system? What's happening? And there was a couple of things that were happening. People were not completing the training till the final click. And I'm going to get a screenshot together to share with you guys or something where you can see what that final click is to close the training to get that completion. That was one thing. You have to complete it to the final click. You can't just close your window at the end. And then the other thing we saw is if you open an e-learning and you're taking a training, like, yes, it's self-paced, right? You have the time to do it. We're all busy. But let's say you walk away, you go to lunch, you walk away for a meeting. If you leave it idle, I don't know what the time is. I think it's about 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes that can cause issues. Thank you, Joyce. Joyce, don't leave it idle for more than 5 minutes. Agree. Do not leave it idle. If you need to walk away and do not complete it in that sitting, exit it. It will save your progress. When you go back to resume the course, you can start from where you left off. But sometimes that causes an issue when you leave it idle. So far, every single issue where someone said, I did the training and it's saying I didn't, it's been one of those two cases. So just a heads up, that's something that's really not in our control. It's just how we have to use it and how we have to exit out our e-learning courses. All right, next slide. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet and hand it over to my comms folks. Go ahead.
Hey guys, last time for me to present on Biz Library webinars coming up because Casey will be doing it in the future. But we have two for September. We have Navigating the Modern Workplace and Bridging the Generational Gap. That's on September 9th at 1 p.m. And then Ethics for Everyone on September 10th at 1 p.m. And you can see the credits that you will be getting if you attend those webinars. Again, they are both free to attend. You just have to register yourself. So be sure to click that top link and go to the Biz Library website to register yourself for those webinars. They will also be included in the Learner's Ledger newsletter that will go out next week. So just a little update on that.
Thank you so much, Maddie. And I know most of you are probably looking at this and saying, well, I'll be at GCHR. If I'm not mistaken, I think all of these that Biz Library offers like this, normally if you register, they are recorded. You can still go back, register, and complete it and earn your credits. I would always encourage you to read the fine print if you do it, of course, because I say that and then there'll be one that's not the case for. But everyone we've had so far, that has been how it works. So if that time does not work, or hey, maybe that's your it's an hour long, maybe that's your lunch break at GCHR, you can go take that and earn some credits. But these are great opportunities. Like Maddie said, they're free. So please share them. And we're so thankful to our partners at Biz Library for sharing these resources with us and allowing us to promote to our learning community. All right, thank you so much, Maddie. Next slide. All right, so like Maddie said, our Learner's Ledger will go out next week. I know we have a holiday on Monday. I should have thought about that before. So yeah, it should still go out Tuesday. There is a chance we'll push it to Wednesday with the holiday. Maddie, I'll leave that up to you and Casey if we want to keep it on Tuesday or not. I know I've learned this from my comms folks about not sending things on Monday, and now our Tuesday is going to be like a Monday, so I'll leave that up to y'all when you want to push that out. But Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll send that Learner's Ledger, and then I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, I've asked them to include the link where you can look over those learning programs. One of the things that Rhonda shared that I wanted to highlight as well, that the training team has taken a different approach on, is when we pushed out basic navigation with the intent to go live on October 1, we had a due date for that. And we saw that evoked a lot of panic. People thought when they missed the due date that they couldn't do the training. You could still do the training if you missed the due date. They also thought when it was the day before it was due and they didn't have time to do it, that something really bad was going to happen to them. It's okay. You know, if you have questions, reach out and ask and let your employees know as well. But what training has proposed is, you know, pushing due dates back to allow more time where people feel like they have that time to take their trainings. One of the things I'll share with you all so you can understand the process that goes, you know, behind this is data conversion. So I am focused on taking all your training data, Georgia at Work training completions in Team Georgia Learning, and migrating them into Georgia at Work so that on Go Live, you can log in and have your Georgia at Work transcript, right? You can see all the end user training you did during this wild time in Georgia at Work. And that's going to be needed for sustainment, like Rhonda said. So it is important that when we do put those due dates out, and like I said, I think we're taking a different approach. Instead of having multiple different due dates, I think they're all going to be pushed towards the end of that time in March. But it is important to meet that because, like I've shared before, when we were talking about freeze and cutover, there will be a freeze date for Team Georgia Learning. And at that time, we will only take completed trainings into the new system. So if you started it and didn't finish, it's not coming. You would just have to retake it in Georgia at Work at that point. So that's really important. A lot of you've already heard that, but I will remind you constantly. You'll get sick of it because that's my focus. That's my team's focus, is taking your hard work and putting it in the new system, which I know you want to see there. So I wanted to just give you a heads up. I know we've got time, but you all know how quickly the year will go by with this project. But if you have questions about that, please let us know. please share the learning form, the help form, and get your ticket submitted if you or your team have issues. That is going to be the best way that we can help you, and that is the best way that we can track it to ensure we make this as successful as possible. That is all I have. We do have our next community meeting scheduled for September 26th. I think that's in between all the conferences in September, so we should be good to go. If you think of anything in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. I know we have a few minutes left. Maddie has her hand up, so I'll let you go first, and then we'll open the floor for any questions.
It's okay. Tiffany answered it. I was just pointing out that Brandon had a question in the chat.
Thank you, Brandon. So yeah, and this is a great question if you guys didn't see it. If someone has an issue accessing training like the sexual harassment prevention for supervisors, we should send them to the form, not email Georgia Learning. And that is correct. We're trying to phase out that email and utilize this form. And that's in preparation for sustainment of this new system. So excellent point, Brandon, and excellent question. Thank you. And thank you, Tiffany, for answering. Anything else? Does anyone have any questions or anything you would like to share with this group while we're all together? Okay, well, last thing I'll say, coming up, I'm not sure which meeting coming up, I'll plan to revisit an LMS demo and a little bit about the new LMS because it's been a while since we've talked about that. And we're also planning some Team Georgia Learning webinars. I hope to convene with the proper teams next week to get those scheduled and planned. So that'll be something we'll push out and promote. And once we have that out there, you can share it with your teams and we'll get it through the proper channels because that'll be something I think that will be really helpful with all the issues we've had with people just being able to get into Team Georgia Learning and take their training. We're going to have a couple webinars to assist, to show you this is how you log in. This is where you submit a ticket if you need help. This is what your screen looks like. This is how you launch the training. This is how you close the training. So I should have had a slide for that because that's actually, I think, the best news I've shared all day. We will have that webinar, one or two, I'm thinking probably at least two. And then I'll ensure that they're recorded as well so we can share those out as resources. But that information is forthcoming. We'll ensure to include that in our newsletters as well once we define those dates. But I think that'll be really helpful for all of your team members. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Happy Friday. Go Dogs. And I'll see you next time. Thank
Be
you.
safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Bye.
Bye, Holly.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Happy Friday.